I'm going to film another journal with me today. We've been on school holidays the last couple of weeks, so I haven't been able to make very much and I haven't been able to do much journaling either. And so I have some stuff that I want to put into my journal and just do like a little catch-up journaling session in my new journal. So this is going to be the first journal with me video in this journal. I have done not very much in here. I just did the first few pages and then I also did a little bit of Easter journaling over the holidays, but I'm pretty sure that's all I've done so far in this journal. So it's still very much new to me and I'm really excited to add some more stuff in here. I did add a little typewritten list in here as well, but that's about all that I've done. So some stuff that I have to put into my journal today. I have some cinema tickets. I have this little paint sample because I painted a wall in my house and I picked this color. So I'm going to include that with a photo. I have the packaging from the wax linen thread that I bought recently. And then this is just a little info thingy from the cinema as well. And then I also have this little sticker, this little sold sticker from a coffee table that I bought at the op shop or the thrift store. I'm going to print out a picture now that shows the wall that I painted, and it will also show the coffee table that I bought. So this is the photo that I'm going to print. And then I'm also going to print out this really sweet little photo of my daughter and my niece. I always get questions about what photo printer I use. I use the Canon Selfie. So this is the little printer here. It can print 4x6 photos, but I often will put 2 photos on one piece of photo paper to give me 2 3x4s. You just connect to the printer from your phone, and then there's a little app which you can use to print the photos from. I think I might print these photos as full size today. So I'm just going to print those 2 photos out. The printer's pretty loud when it's printing. It's just a really handy thing to have though when you want to print photos at home, and if you like journaling with photos, it's a really nice tool to have. So I did try to film this video as a real-time journal with me, and my street ended up being really loud, so I stopped doing that and I decided to just do a voiceover over the top of the process. So it started out as a real time and now you're getting a voiceover. I am, as always, starting out just by flicking through the journal and choosing a page to work on. Sometimes I spend a silly amount of time choosing what page I'm going to work on, but it's really fun just to imagine the different possibilities on each page. I'm also just spending a little moment to group different bits of ephemera. So for example, the photo with the paint sample card and the sold sticker, and then the cinema tickets with the cinema program. And then everything else I have are just little random bits that are kind of standalone pieces, like the photo of my daughter and my niece, and the packaging from the threads that I got. I'm starting out on this patterned page and I'm going to start gluing down the little bits of ephemera from my lounge room. So I have a photo of the paint color on the wall, the paint sample card, and the sold sticker from the coffee table, which you can see in the photo. And I'm just going to kind of cluster these together on the page. I'm using double-sided tape to stick these down. So I'm just layering them up, put the paint sample card down first, the photo on top. I kind of misplaced it at first, but I just quickly pulled it back up and repositioned it. And then I'm going to add the little sold sticker as well. I did also add a little strip of double-sided tape on the back of it just to make it a little bit more sticky, and stuck that along the bottom of the photo. On the other side of the page, it's Tomoe River paper. I'm going to do some written journaling there later. I also just pulled out a red pen and I circled the color in the middle, which was the color that I had chosen for the wall. And then flicking to the next page, I'm using this short craft paper envelope page as a place to glue down these little bits of packaging from the wax linen thread that I purchased. So I'm just using my glue stick to glue these down because they're quite thin little bits of paper. and I'm just gluing them down the page, and then I'm also going to just trim off the excess, and at the same time I'm going to trim off the edge of the envelope because it's still sealed closed, and that will give me a little tuck spot or a little pocket behind that as well, which I can tuck something into later on. So I'm not really going to add any written journaling to go along with those, but I do just like to add little bits of packaging and stuff into my journal. I always like to just keep random bits and pieces from my life. Sometimes they're special, sometimes they're not, sometimes they're interesting to look at, doesn't really matter, but packaging is a really fun thing to add to your journals, and I feel like it's something that's really interesting to look back on later on in life. Flicking through the pages, and I want to start adding in the cinema stuff that I have. So the program first. It's a full piece of paper that's double-sided, and I kind of wanted to add it in a way where you could see most of the page. I didn't want to kind of glue it down, so I'm using some sticky tape. This fabric tape is a Tim Holtz tape. It's quite strong, and I've just trimmed that down, and then you just peel off the backing. And I'm using that to attach the program to the back of this little page in the journal. So just by adding the tape to the very edge, and that tape is really lovely and strong, so that one little strip is strong enough to hold that in. And then once I stuck that in, I also worked in the cinema tickets. So I thought about attaching those on the beautiful floral paper, but I ended up gluing those down on the music paper, which is underneath the movie program, which I just attached to the journal. And I'm gluing these cinema tickets in with my glue stick, again just because they're nice and thin. Now flicking through to a different page again to start working with the photo of my daughter and my niece. I really liked this background paper with the cute little animals, and the little floral pocket on the other side of the page was also really cute. I felt like it went well with the photo. There is this stark white background behind the pocket, so I want to add some paper there to kind of cover that up. And so I'm just using different scraps from my scrap drawer, just bits that I've had floating around for ages, little scraps of papers that I really love, and I'm just going to kind of collage them together to create the background. I cut some slits into that little floral paper so that I could attach it all the way to the edge of the page. So there's a little fabric tab sewn to the page, and I didn't want to have to stop at the fabric tab, so I just cut out a really small little rectangle of paper so that it could sort of slide all the way to the edge. That worked really well. And then I'm just overlapping different bits of scrap. So always keep little scraps of paper because they come in handy, especially for things like this. A really nice way to create a background is just to overlap and layer up different bits of patterned paper that complement each other, and you can kind of create your own background paper, which is really fun. For the photo, I added this little photo frame. This is a download from my Etsy store. I just felt like that really complemented the photo and enhanced it as the focal point of the page. I stapled it along the top so that you can lift it up and see the entire photo as well. And then I'm just working in this cute little white scalloped pocket along the bottom of the page. Again, using my double-sided tape to stick that in because it's a little bit heavier, and I had this little tag which fit perfectly inside the pocket, so I slipped that inside. And then I'm just looking through some little journal cards and bits and pieces. I think most of these are from the Magical Forest collection, so I'm just choosing little cards that I can use to decorate the page. A lot of these pieces have really cutesy animal imagery and sweet little phrases, so I feel like it works well with what I'm journaling. And this little piece fit perfectly on top of the pocket without me even needing to cut it, so I glued that down with my glue stick. And then on the opposite side of the page, I love this animal paper. It's so sweet. I definitely didn't want to cover it up too much, so I am going to create a little top loading pocket along the top. I forgot to mention this cute little bear which I added in the background of the page, and it kind of just sits behind the photo, which I think is really sweet with the picture of them sleeping. Yeah, so back to the animal paper, I'm kind of trying to work out a way to add to it without covering it up. So I have this little piece of paper from a children's book. It's like a children's dictionary. So it has illustrated pictures that go with the word. So I have this one that says bedroom, and I felt like that went well with the sleepover theme. So I'm sticking that along the top of the page, and just going to layer it up with a little scrap of paper just to make it a little bit longer. And this is going to create a simple little top loading pocket along the top, which I can then tuck some journaling into later. So to do this, all I did was use my stapler because it's just the quickest way to attach things, and it's quite a strong way to attach things. So I put some staples down the side of the page and also along the top, and that just creates a nice little tuck spot along the top there. I thought it might be nice to add a journal card or an envelope with some journaling under there, so I'm just trying out some different pieces to see what I like the look of. And so I ended up choosing a little blue vintage envelope, which I'm going to tuck underneath. I just felt like it was the right color and the right size, and then I'm going to do some journaling inside there. So this pretty little frame piece fit perfectly, and so I decided on that. I also wanted to add a little wax seal, so I've actually got a piece of plastic underneath the flat part of the envelope just to stop it from sealing this closed. I want to still be able to open this up easily, so once that had set, I could easily remove the little piece of plastic, and then it's just attached to the flat part of the envelope. After that, I decided to fill in this page that was sort of in between the journaling. This beautiful floral background paper. Again, I didn't really want to cover it up too much, so I took out a couple of photos from the film that I got developed recently, and I picked 2 pictures which I paper clipped to the top of the page, and then I just attached this pink journal card off the edge of the page, just glued it straight down, and did some written journaling, just sort of annotating what those photos are. So a nice way to sort of add photos to the page without covering up beautiful papers is just simply with a paper clip, or you could even just add some staples to the corner of a photo so that you can still lift the photo up. For the rest of my written journaling, I did off camera, and I'm going to show you that now with some close-ups of the finished pages. So here's how they turned out. This journaling was kind of a little bit disjointed as I was working on different pages and sort of journaling about different things from different dates, so it was kind of a bit disjointed, but I like how each page turned out, and it's nice to just add little bits and pieces to your journal here and there. That doesn't always have to be lots of pages about one thing. You can always just do little snippets of different things on different pages, glue little bits here and there, and in the end your journal is still going to be really interesting and full of bits and pieces from your life. So now that my kids are back at school, I will have some more videos for you guys. I haven't really been able to film, but I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I will see you again soon in my next video.